Good evening, my friends. This is not the Spike Volleyball. This is my BlueStacks tutorial that someone asked me to make, and here we go. So this is BlueStacks.com. Search it for yourself. It's BlueStacks.com. You can download BlueStacks 10. I personally am using BlueStacks 5. BlueStacks 10 is the next version of BlueStacks. I just happen to have BlueStacks 5 configured properly, and I'm going to stay with it. So let's just hide me and get into it. So you can download 2 million Android games. You can use a controller on your PC. It's got unbeatable performance, and it's not bad. And it has its own currency. Again, I'm not trying to sell you on BlueStacks, but here we go. Hide this, and that's that. So hang on, minimize this, pull up BlueStacks 5. There it is. So here it is. Let's go over the high-level features here. So up here at the top, you have the home button, which pulls you to the screen here, and I've got the App Center, System Apps, the Spike Volleyball Battle, and Black Clover M installed. They want you to install these other games here. But if you want to install a new game, you go to System Apps and Play Store, just like an Android phone, and you search for a game, and I just happen to have the Spike. And there it is. If you want to play it or install it, you can install it from here. So you hit this Tile tab next, and then you basically grab your mouse and you swipe up, and it works most of the time. So let's go into the Spike Volleyball, and we'll show you something here. So I have my screen controls, my controller controls on the screen right now. There's left button, left trigger, left stick right, tap the screen, hit that. Over here is a slide, that is I believe block and defend, and that is attack A on my controller, which is basically a standard Nintendo Switch controller, USB. So I hate that fucking thing that they pop up every day. Check in, of course, every day we check in, 10,000 coins, that's great. I know I've been slacking this month, but anyway. So let's go over the controls here. So you have volume, my volume's maxed. You can go full screen if you want. You should be able to see all these mouse overs. And are you in fact seeing them? Yes, it appears you are. So this is the important one right here. This little keyboard icon. Lock mouse cursor is probably stupid, but it's called game controls. So game controls are on-screen controls are on now. The opacity of them is full, so I can show them to you. And you can have the controls for the keyboard or joystick, or gamepad. I'm using a gamepad. If you're using a keyboard, you just select a little keyboard over here instead. Then you go to Controls Editor, and this should look okay. It does. And you can see these are the hot spots, and you can delete them. If you mouse over it and click over to the upper right, there's a little X, you can click it. So if I wanted to put a control here, I click it and I put A. Well, actually I'm using a controller, so let's go right trigger. So that's right trigger. Okay, that's great. That doesn't mean anything in this game, so let's just hit the X and get rid of it. But these buttons are placed at actually a very strategic point where if it's 2 buttons, left button and right button cover it. If it's 3 buttons, left button, right button, and left trigger cover it for the Spike Volleyball. Now, if you're playing like FC, this is going to be a lot harder. So again, brace yourself. Some games may not be really compatible with that. So click out of that. We'll click out of this. We don't want to reset my controls, discard changes. We don't care. So any other important things in here? That's open macro manager. I don't use macros. That's sync operations. I don't know what that's talking about. Trim memory. I'm sure that's some sort of memory management thing. Install an APK. Fuck off. I do not cheat. Take a screenshot. That might be useful. And you can actually record your session if you want. I'm using OBS. Obviously, I'm not using BlueStacks recording. What else we got? Media gallery. I'm not really sure. Airplane mode if you're playing on if you're playing where there's no Wi-Fi. Rotate. Hold on. You can rotate the screen if you want. You can go portrait, landscape. I guess if you're playing on one of those monitors where you can flip it around. Screen shake. You can turn it on, or do that. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. And set location, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to. Multi-instance manager, not really sure there. But down here is a little gear icon right there. You see it? Settings. This is also the most important thing, I think, here. So if you're running into performance problems, you can alter this. I'm using 60 frames, which is a little little OP. High performance mode, we're using 4 cores and 4 gig memory allocation. Again, might be a little overkill. I do not enable high frame rate. I do not enable VSync. I do not display FPS during gameplay. And then display, you can choose your resolution. I'm using a resolution I normally wouldn't use. I usually use 1280 by 720. But for the purposes of this video, that's what we're going with. Pixel density, I use medium. Spike is not graphically intensive, and I use the BlueStacks cursor style. Graphics, I'm using OpenGL. If your graphics card performs better with DirectX or Vulkan, which I don't even know what Vulkan is, go ahead and use it. And prefer dedicated GPU, because I have a pretty badass laptop graphics card. Game settings, nothing there. Devices, I use the default speakers, microphone, and camera. Not really sure what that's even all about. And it auto detects my gamepad. Preferences, English, I'm in the United States. BlueStacks can connect to Discord. And I basically didn't change any of these settings. So phone, I'm using the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. I'm pretty sure that's the default. Shortcuts, nothing different. I didn't change any of that. You can change up, you can use disk cleanup if you want. And you can back up and restore your data. Advanced, this debugging stuff if you're doing development or something. And about, this is probably the most important thing in here. Support, and the support website, BlueStacks website. Check for updates. Now, I'm going to warn you, this is dangerous. And, I mean, sort of dangerous. Again, I'm using the Android 11 version, 5.21.300.1005. And that version seems to work well for me. I really don't like installing updates. That's just me. Again, I work in IT. I've installed updates that have fucked things up royally, so yeah, use that at your own discretion. If you got a stable version that's not buggy, it's not crashing, things aren't crashing, kind of stick with it unless there's something absolutely goddamn major that comes out. So this version is fairly new. I want to say I updated about a month ago, I think, but yeah, just use your discretion on applying updates, because again, I've run into situations where the whole entire fucking game gets fucked, and then I'm emailing their fucking support their support team for tickets, and luckily they have solved them the one and only time I had problems. So that's that. It's a BlueStacks tutorial. If you have any other questions, let me know. I think I covered everything. Again, if you like the Spike content, or my content, or me in general, hit subscribe, like button, notification bell, leave me a comment. I read all the comments of my friends. And in the pinned comment below, you find a link to the official The Spike subreddit and the unofficial The Spike Discord. And that's about it. Have a good day and have a good night.